Welcome to another edition of Play It Through, and this time around it's Snake's Revenge, brought to us by Ultra. This is the non-canonical sequel to the original Metal Gear game on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and was originally made for just the North American and European markets, and never saw an official release in Japan, even though it was developed by a Japanese team. Hideo Kojima, the original creator of Metal Gear, erased this game immediately from storylines, saying it was the unofficial sequel to the game. But, probably without its creation, Hideo Kojima would have probably never gone back and made a sequel to Metal Gear in Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake for the MSX, and of course would later spawn the Metal Gear Solid franchise later on the PlayStation 1. So this game, while it doesn't have anything to do with the official storyline of Metal Gear, is almost essential to the creation of the future games in the Metal Gear series. Now we're going to start off with seeing just, of course, the basic storyline before I even start getting into the game, and it's basically detailing the specs for the Metal Gear 1 unit, which basically we're going to have to go in and destroy. What a shock. And unlike the original Metal Gear game on the Nintendo Entertainment System, in this one we actually get to fight a Metal Gear. It's not really epic or anything really that cool, but at least we get to do battle with Metal Gear. Now here's more information, of course, about Lieutenant Snake. Going in, and now we're going to be dropped into the jungle once again, just like we were in Metal Gear 1. This time with two partners, John Turner and Nick Meyer, and these two people, unlike the comrades we were dropped into the forest within the first Metal Gear game, they actually are essential to the storyline and are parts of the main actual story of the game. Now, of course, we get to see there is Snake, looking nothing like we would expect really Snake to look, but he's kind of like more jacked, like he's some kind of giant football player or something, and you're going to immediately see, as we are now just being dropped into the forest, you see John and Nick go off in separate directions, and now we actually see Snake walking as I am moving my way throughout this forest, and you can see he's actually really buff and bigger, much bigger on screen than he was in the first Metal Gear game. Now, as far as we knew here in North America, this was the real sequel to Metal Gear, and since we never got to play the second Metal Gear game on the MSX until the PlayStation 2 version of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, that was our first opportunity to play the MSX versions with full English official translation, even though some fans have said that the fans' translations that were made for those games are actually better than the official translations, but that's up for complete debate, and it really doesn't matter which way you lie on that. But since this was, as far as we knew, the sequel, we're like, okay, well, I guess Snake got jacked up or whatever. He's more of a typical action hero, an American action hero, in the sense of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger or a Bruce Willis style character, being, much more brawn over, stealth and acrobatics or anything of that sort. The thing is, it's not really that bad to look at, and I can deal with it if I wasn't even thinking, in the broad spectrum of Metal Gear. The problem is the hit detection that ends up being because of the massive size of Solid Snake in this game gets to be ridiculous. I mean, in the first Metal Gear game, it was very hard to maneuver around, and one of my only issues with Metal Gear 1 and this one really is hit detection and being able to just walk, side by side next to a giant crate or something, because your shoulder barely clips it and you end up getting stuck and you end up walking in place, which of course is a real annoyance. It's much worse in this game because of the, Snake being bigger than it was in the first game, and that's just one of the first giant amount of complaints that I really have about this game in comparison, and I'm just going to compare it to the first Metal Gear game. Now, I just went through the forest a little bit. I rescued, you saw me rescue a couple hostages, and just like the first one, you rescue hostages, but as well as now, you use truth gas on random enemy soldiers that are locating rooms, just kind of chilling out, sitting by themselves for whatever reason, and you use truth gas in order to get some random info out of them, which is kind of cool, but by getting them and the hostages, that's how you rank up, so you actually get two things instead of just saving hostages in this game. Now, what you're noticing, of course, what just happened was, I hid behind a bush, John Turner's like, hey soldiers, come get me. They go get him, they leave the door open, and now boom, Snake can go ahead and infiltrate the base, and now we get to see the first inside of a base. One of the things Ultra did well in terms of development of this game, not only I think is the sound and the music very good, most of the Ultra soundtracks were, they also of course did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, the original, which of course was also conceived as just mediocre as a game, But TMNT was a licensed game there was no previous game in the series. It was the first of its kind. So, it had a great soundtrack, but while it got a lot of criticism from fans, it wasn't, that's what we didn't have any expectations going in. While we, of course, have huge expectations when going into this game, and that's one of the things that Ultra, unfortunately, has a problem with, is, comparing this to the first game. Some of the cool things they really did do to the game, of course, is you can actually use your fist, or you can use a knife, a melee weapon, as well as your projectiles, such as all your guns and all. So you can use them both at the same time, which is much more beneficial. Now, of course, you would think the knife would be much better because it's a one-hit instant kill on enemies, and for a lot of the game I will be using the knife. But, if you want to take the time to use the fist, and let's say you're low on health, if you use that, the enemy will drop ammunition, or will drop extra rations. So, there will be long periods of time where I'll use the knife, but then if I'm low on rations, I'll switch back to the fist, and just use that for a good amount of time in order to build my rations back up. Now, not every single enemy drops an ammunition or drops rations. It's completely random, but it's still something that you may have to punch 6-7 guys before you get one ration, but in the end it's going to end up being worth it. Now, I just got keycard number 1. Just like the previous game, we have to keep switching by going to the start menu and going over and selecting a different keycard. So it's once again a guessing game in terms of being able to figure out what door we need to go into, what key we need to use on that door. Do we have that key already? It's all that kind of guessing game that has to go along with the game, which isn't necessarily, I think, fun, and it's one of the issues I have with the first Metal Gear game, as well as this. It's one of the things Ultra could have done. They could have changed that, and they would have had at least a couple more pluses instead of more minuses in pretty much my feelings towards this game. A lot of people just completely dismiss this game and hate it because of course, it having, its unofficial sequel to the Metal Gear series. But I'm just going to be basing it as a sequel to the first game as I'm reviewing it and talking about it during the course of this playthrough. And like I said, they could have fixed that, it would have been great, so I didn't have to keep reselecting different key cards. And they also could have made, if they didn't make Snake so bulky, I could have at least been able to not clip so many doors as I'm trying to walk through them, or get hit by so many enemies. It's not just, crates and walls and stuff that get in the way. There's also, the enemies will just barely touch your shoulder, and you take full damage for it, which can be really annoying, especially against the first boss that we'll face in just a little while. Another issue that we'll get to when I actually start doing about the bosses is them in general. They aren't nearly as cool or anything as most of the other bosses in especially the first Metal Gear game and in subsequent sequels after that. As of course I'm spotted and random enemies want to go and try to take me out just like always. It's no different in terms of that gameplay. They at least kept that core gameplay intact. You're not supposed to be seen. If you're seen, you're gonna have to run around and try to kill the enemies. Now here's the first time I'm going to be using the truth gas, and somehow I run up to the guy holding truth gas and he blurts out every possible secret he knows, which usually is just one little fact. But by doing so, even though basically most of the information is pretty useless for most of the time, it ranks me up slowly. As you can already see, I am rank 2 instead of rank 1 already, and I will build that rank up just like I did before. But the rank helps you more in just your hold of ammunition. It doesn't really do anything to your health like it did in the first game. So that's another thing that kind of stinks as well, that you have to get used to when playing this one, is to just run past those guards. Apparently they didn't even notice me whatsoever when I ran past them. But now we're going to head over down into, we're now in the basement area, the second floor or whatever of the first building. Here's another one. There's random soldiers I'm going to have to use the truth gas on. Just like the first game, you can, of course, as you've already seen me building up my full supply of different items, because they just keep respawning in the room every time I exit and re-enter the room. And of course I'm going to use that to my benefit, again, just like I did in the first game, mainly for cutting down time at a lot of points, because, there really isn't that many items spread out throughout the game, so the intent was for you to do that, I think. Even though some people said it was a glitch or whatever, since Ultra included it also in this game, it was probably intentional, because they really didn't put too many rations, ammunition, and all the other items that you actually can deplete your supply of, they didn't put a whole ton of them throughout the game to just keep building up and building up and building up. So my guess was it was intentional to allow you to just restock all in one room, just exiting and re-enter. Now it would be nice if you just entered an ammunition room, picked up the ammunition, and boom, you have full ammunition. But hey, I guess you can't get everything. They couldn't make it extremely easy. They just made it easier, I guess. Whatever about that. Picking up random land explosives, which I really didn't pick up any of the plastic explosives in the first game because there was only one boss that needed them, and that was the supercomputer, which I used a glitch to just bypass that supercomputer battle because it really isn't even a battle. There's no point to it really, other than of course to advance in the game, but since you can skip it, it's better just to skip it and not have to worry about the boredom of watching me use 15 plastic explosives on one giant computer in order to finally take it out. It's amazing how many bombs that computer could withstand. I mean, it must have been a supercomputer. I am stocking up now on oxygen tanks, as I just took my first drink of, I'm sure, many during the course of this game. But I picked up a couple oxygen tanks. Now, I didn't pick up any of that kind of stuff, the scuba gear, in the first game that would have benefited me only really in one part. There are several parts in this game where the oxygen tanks are absolutely necessary, or you're gonna run out of health extremely quickly. Even if you have full amount of rations, you're gonna end up dying before you would be able to make it through the areas in some of these places. Now when we get to those places, which are the infamous side-scrolling areas, which is another reason why almost every fan of Metal Gear really doesn't like this game at all, is these side-scrolling areas, which I'll talk about more when we actually get to one, but those are the those oxygen tanks are going to be used for those areas. As right now, as you can see, I'm just stocking up on my ammunition, just making sure that I am fully prepared, at least for the next large chunk of time, because like I said before, they don't put that many ammunition refilling places throughout the game, so I really, like I said, it's intentional to be able to just stock up using one room. As I'm going to run past, even though everyone wants me dead, and go into the elevator, and now we're going to drop down to the next floor. Oh yes, another floor. Of course, the elevator segments are pretty much the exact same as they were in the first game, so that's another familiar type thing. But, coming up in this room, here we go, the first of the side-scrolling areas. Now, of course, they did this probably to make the game more action-packed, more, make it faster paced, I guess, in certain areas, so you actually had some more action. Which, of course, is a negative in terms of just Metal Gear. It's supposed to be about slow, stealthy gameplay, not action-packed, blast everyone possible away. But I could forgive it if it wasn't so broken. Like, you have to switch out between your knife and your gun. You have to pause the game in order to switch out, which is an annoyance, even though, because, outside of this place, I can do both. I can use my gun and my knife at the same time, but not in here. Another negative thing is you can use your plastic explosives that I picked up during this part, but you can only use them at certain points. Like if you're standing or you're ducking using different weapons. Like for each weapon, it's different. Like if I have the handgun and I duck, then I can use the landmines, the land explosives. It makes no sense. Here is the first boss, basically a football team coming at you. I suggest equipping the machine gun. You're gonna take damage in this fight because it's almost impossible. My strategy is to use as much of the machine gun ammo as I can quickly, heal when I need to, make sure I have at least 2 rations in order to beat this battle. Keep using the machine gun until one guy's down. Now with the machine gun, since it spread shots most people, you've done damage to other people by wasting all the ammo for it. Okay, once you've run out of complete ammo from the machine gun, which I'm going to about to in a second, I'm going to switch back now to the handgun, with only 3 guys left. I like to just keep mashing the button until I'm down to only 2 guys left. Now that I'm down to 2 guys, I can spread them out evenly. I can go up to one, hit him a few times, now run down and to the right, hit the right guy, shoot him a few times, run down to the left. They should miss me every time, and I can just pick them off individually, and I'll just finish off this last guy when he runs back to the middle. And there, he's taken care of. And that's basically my only strategy against those guys. If you have more rations, you can just stand there and keep firing and take all the extra damage. If you want to try to avoid them, Once you have them down to 4, you can start avoiding them, but I can almost never avoid them when there's all 5 of them on the field at once. It's one of the worst boss battles because you're gonna get hit, you're gonna take damage. It's almost impossible not to. But now that they're taken care of, I'm gonna grab my explosives real quick and start bombing this door. I'm gonna have to use multiple explosives in order to blow up this door, the blockade barricading this door, which is just an annoyance, and just watching it is boring. Okay, once that's finally taken care of, I can switch back now to my keycard number 2. I'm going to go back to my handgun, because I don't need my plastic explosives right now, and now we're going to head off into the second area of the game. Unlike the first Metal Gear game, there's actually multiple terrains in this game, not just a jungle and the buildings. You, of course, have now, we've seen a jungle, a building, and now we have a giant ship, a giant transport ship that is actually holding Metal Gear, the Metal Gear 1, in the bowels of the ship. So our goal is to locate where Metal Gear is, get to the bowels of the ship, and blow it up. Get rid of it, destroy it, whatever we can possibly do to it. But of course there's going to be some hostages and some people to mess with along the way, so we're going to do all that first before heading down into the basement. Because of course, it wasn't just going to be so simple as just to go ahead, destroy it real quick, and be done with the game. Of course not. We're going to have to do some stuff before we can go ahead and take out Metal Gear. And, yeah. And just like the first game, the random soldiers are pretty blind, even though sometimes they'll see you, even though they're not even looking at you, and they're like, you know, you're standing behind them, somehow they'll still see you, and then other times, you're standing right in front of them, and they still have some trouble somehow finding you and spotting you and running at you full charge like an idiot, and usually glitching and running in circles. But that's not all the time, as I'm going to take out some more guys with the mighty fist. I was able to pick up 1 ration, but I'm going to hope to refill most of my stock, because unfortunately there really is no place, I don't think, on the ship, at least not that I know of, to pick up more rations easily. So I'm just going to keep running around, punching people right in the face when I need to. And, yeah, hopefully they drop some more rations so I can refill it up so I don't die here. Right in. Oh, guys, it's a guy who actually is funny. His character sprite, when he's just kind of standing there looking at you, he kind of reminds me of M. Bison from Street Fighter. Probably because he's wearing all red and he looks like he has a hat on, so it's just kind of funny. But apparently, M. Bison will give me full-blown info for just having truth gas. Which I really don't even know how you do that. Do you actually... it looks like I'm just running at him holding truth gas. Like, hey, you better tell me where Metal Gear is, because, hey, I got truth gas. I got it. You want some of this? I don't think you want this. You better tell me. And then he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I admit yeah, it's in the basement. Just go ahead down there and blow it up. Yeah, it's not that hard. Oh, really? Thank you. Thank you, sir. But I still lose it anyway, so I guess I kind of just let it go in the room. It's not like I stuck it to his face and was like, turn on the gas, and eventually he tells me stuff. I mean, maybe I just let it loose in the room, and Snake also engulfs it and starts giving up facts as well, but, you know, he doesn't, I guess he just doesn't talk in this game, so I guess Snake doesn't give up the truth as well. I also don't understand, once you've gotten the truth out of the guy, you know, you should also have to kill the guy as well, in order just to be able to advance, because you think once they've told you, wouldn't you just think you would kill them as well, just to make sure that they can't tell anyone that you're on the ship? Kind of seems unbeneficial to my whole stealth persona, if they know where I am on the ship. But then again, they don't move, they don't walk, they don't leave the room, and they look completely different than any of the other soldiers, as I just actually punched the guy right in the back of the head and he dropped a ration. What other games, when you punch someone in the face, do they drop food? Oh yeah, wait, Adventures of Bayou Billy, you punch a crocodile in the face, it throws a chicken at you. And not just a small piece, it throws an entire giant chicken at you. And now that I think of it, that was made by Konami, who works with Ultra to make this game as well as the first Metal Gear game. So, a lot of similarities, always between game companies. Whether or not it's Sunsoft constantly using the same sound effects over again, or now we have Konami with different enemies dropping food when they get punched in the face. But a good similarity nonetheless. I mean, it's one of the more positives of video games, being able to know that you can go ahead and just punch a guy in the face if you need some food. Now here we go with the random 3 grenade throwing dudes. They're just random fat guys stuck in holes, it looks like, and they throw grenades at us. they're one of the worst enemies ever, but I equip my grenades first and run around the room like an idiot. You almost will never get hurt unless you stand in the same spot and let them hit you. I use the grenade to take out the first guy, then I equip my plastic explosives, drop one right in front of the guy, run around the back and drop the next one in front of the next guy on the left, run back to the right, drop one in front of him, and of course, as you can guess, I'm going to go back to the left, go in front of him, drop an explosive real quick, and then work my way back to the right. Do this a few times and they're taken care of. You didn't take 1 single ounce of damage, which is of course the complete opposite of how much damage I took during the first boss battle. Maybe, this is the easiest boss probably in the entire game. Like, why wasn't this guy first instead of the random football team that is like the most broken boss in the game? But for defeating them, I get keycard number 3, which of course is going to be essential for us to be able to make it into the basement and be able to get off this giant boat and destroy Metal Gear. But now that we have that, I'm going to work my way over back to the elevator area. I'm going to punch more guys right in the face and seeing if they actually will drop any more food. But it seems like they're not going to be nice to me and actually drop some food for me, which is a disappointment. I'm going to stay over in this room before heading down, equipping keycard number 2, and inside here is the flare gun, which I already picked up some flares on the main deck of the ship, and I actually need the flare gun in order to brighten up the basement, which is pitch black, but if you know where to go in the basement, which I'll showcase, it's actually, I can get through there real quick without even having to use the flare gun. Unlike the first Metal Gear game where I needed to use the flashlight in order to make it through the basement area of the second to last building or whatever, because that place is almost impossible to navigate with all the traps and such. Don't really have to worry about that in the ship area. I would say, hey look, I punched a guy in the face and he dropped some food. Good for him. And I'm just going to go right past him and go inside the elevator, and now we're going to go take it down to the basement area. It's a little bit different of an elevator than in the first Metal Gear. They didn't have this type of elevator, but either way. We are now in the bottom of the ship, and you can see the first room is lit up. For whatever reason, this one actually is lit up, and then you can see immediately the next room is completely pitch black, and you can just see Snake. Somehow, even in darkness, Snake is still able to be seen. But I'm going to run up here real quick, open this door, run inside, and hey look, here's the ammunition pile. I'm going to equip my plastic explosive, drop one on the giant pile of ammunition, boom, it explodes, and now the entire ship is about to blow up. And of course, we're going to have to escape within a short time limit. We get a transmission from the helicopter pilot, and now we're going to have to run out of this place while it shakes, while it's getting ready to explode with a very limited amount of time. As you can see now, the actual Metal Gear mech units just kind of hanging out, chilling around, not really doing too much. But yeah, so after I've somehow blown up the ammunition, then that whole room I don't need the flare gun for anymore. It's already lit up, which is kind of funny. But I'm going to go all the way to the top of the deck of the ship. I'm going to skip the second floor. If I go in there, I'll probably end up dying because I'll run out of time. So, right to the deck of the ship. From here, we're going to head down to the right. There's a precise path we actually have to take and go inside here. We actually do have a radar that will tell me where to go in case you've never done this before, you don't really know where to go. There is a radar, but I think the radar is actually a little confusing. I really didn't understand it, but you come in here, that room, that wall somehow just explodes. You walk outside, and hey, look, there's the helicopter. Hey, he's just kind of hanging out, he's waiting for us, and now we get another transmission. Congratulations, Metal Gear is destroyed, but we have confirmed the existence of Metal Gear 2. Now Nick is missing. Contact your person at the enemy's base. If you somehow thought that was going to be the end of the game already, of course you were sadly mistaken, as we now have to go and find Metal Gear 2, as well as our other missing comrade, Nick. So now they're both missing, we have to find both of them now. We start off with this small enemy compound, which is more of like a desert style setting, dirt, floor, whatever. I don't know if it's desert, dirt, sand, whatever. But we basically start off in this small area, which is going to be, the whole compound really isn't enemies there. It's actually just full of supplies for us to just go around here now and collect a whole bunch of supplies that we're going to be needing for pretty much the next part of the game. Like, if you were going to break this game, this is like the second third. If you're going to break the game up into thirds, this is like we've beaten 1/3 of the game so far. And now this is the second third. And then we, of course, will have the final building. I consider like the final area, the final third of the game. As you can see, ammo as well as rations are clearly in this room. I'm gonna, of course, then stock up as much as possible, as many as I can hold right now with my 3-star rank, because you know I'm gonna need it, especially when I'm gonna be coming up to a lot of the side-scrolling style areas throughout this part of the game, and then even farther into the game, even more side-scrolling areas, which is what ends up breaking this game for me and ends up making me hate this game. Okay, grab another one, grab another ration, run back out. Okay, now we're gonna head over here to another room. And pretty much like I said, right now all I'm gonna do is run around this little base area for a little bit, and I'm just picking up supplies. Because they conveniently just put you in a giant area with no enemies whatsoever, and every single item so far that you've picked up, you can just max out your supplies of to get ready to prepare yourself for what's to come. It's kind of like the room before, like the final boss room of certain video games, when they give you every item in the game and a save point and all that extra crap. Kind of seemingly what they're doing here, just like not even midway through the game yet. If that's the only thing I can really equate it to. I'm picking up, of course, oxygen tanks, which I am going to extremely need, so I'm going to pick up as many of those as I possibly can. They pretty much become the most essential item. As I now have plastic explosives, I'm going to drop one here, which didn't work. Okay, drop one there. Hey, look, it explodes. There's a random guy somehow hiding underneath of it with a rocket launcher. And now we drop down, and now we're in another side-scrolling area. Oh, what fun. And this is the first one that really introduces why the oxygen tanks are so absolutely essential to your completion of the game. It's because I have to drop explosives on these random underwater vents that stop me from being able to continue my journey underneath this ground area. And as you can see, my oxygen really quickly depletes, and if it runs out of tanks, I of course will then start to die. Which is a lot of fun, right? Yeah, it's an annoyance that is completely unnecessary, and it's one of the things that kills these side-scrolling areas even more than anything else, and is another reason why this game is completely not liked by many. But jump over this random explosive mine under the water, which also there's random cameras floating up and down. If they see me, enemies will start flying out of nowhere to come and kill me. I don't know how they would have, swam underneath all that other area to the left, but they will have found me, and they will come out of every corner possible in order to hunt me down. And hey, look, there's an enemy, and I just shot him, and he falls off hilariously as he just kind of like falls off the screen. Doesn't just drop dead or anything like that. Kind of funny. But escaping. I will now go ahead and refill up my supply of oxygen tanks in case I will need them before I will actually be able to grab another whole supply of them later on. But I'll take just a few seconds in order to refill this area before I continue, just because I want to make absolute sure that I have plenty of equipment before I go ahead and continue on in this game. Because you never know. This one is far, far less predictable than the first one, as I will now go up the elevator and head off, and now we're going to end up being right outside of another area of the compound, head up, and now we're going to see 2 guards guarding trains, and we're going to head into the left train, and now we start a whole nother train. We're actually on a train, as the train will now start to move, kind of like the trucks from the first Metal Gear game, kind of funny. Anytime he's like, oh, something's moving. Oh, really? Thank you for being so observant. Throughout this train area, there's random panels, as you can see, that appear and do damage to me. So they're a lot of fun to deal with. Better off just to kind of quickly work my way through it. And here, if you remember from the first Metal Gear game as well, you had to walk between a couple of buildings with wavy bridges. That's pretty much the equivalent of those little bridges. In between the 2 train cars, or going between the different train cars. The train overall really is a pretty simple little area to deal with. There is some ammunition and some hostages and stuff to pick up along the way. But our main goal is to get to the end, pick up an extra key card that we do need, and then go back and enter another room which we couldn't enter previously because we needed that key card, and then do battle with a boss and then head off the train. So, okay, now I'm going to go between two more. Of course, if I somehow just barely step off the edge there into that black area, I'm instantly dead. And, yeah, game over screen will appear. So I don't want to have to deal with that. And I'm just going to run in here and grab the X-ray camera, which I really don't need to deal with. I really won't use very much at all. But, as you can see, I just got shot, so I just unfortunately I'm down to 1 health. Take out these random soldiers. Okay, good. They actually died and all came out of the same spot, so they died quickly. Walk between 2 more cars. And now we are actually in the final truck, the final train. Just gotta be careful that I don't accidentally step on one of the random platforms. Walk in here real quick and save this hostage. He's like, hey, and now I'm just gonna stand here and not do anything. And I don't know how I'm escaping off a moving train, but I guess he does. Walk around the edge here, because if I walk in the middle just straight over to get to the key card, there is a giant trap in the middle that will open up, and just like in the other Metal Gear games, will be an instant death. But I unfortunately really can't use the transceiver cheat like I could in the first Metal Gear game in order to just bypass those. And hey, look, another guy that I have to use truth gas. He's like, oh no, truth gas, don't shoot. I don't know anything. Oh wow. How awesome was that guy? So M. Bison unfortunately lets us down there. But now that we have that key card number 4, we have to head back to the previous train that we were on. I'm going to use some food here, just to make sure in case I accidentally step on one of those platforms, which I did immediately, of course. I don't know if I'm the only person, but I always seemingly do better with little health, like 1 or 2 hits left, than I do with full health, just because I'm always more cautious when I have only 1 health left. But, okay, look, hey, look, there's John, who we've been looking for ever since he got somehow captured. You know, he got captured for our sake to enter the building. Somehow he's on this train, and we're going to free him now. But I highly suggest equipping the missiles first, as you're going to take damage immediately. I cannot get past him without taking a little bit of damage. And now he's like, oh man, I was a spy all along, so now you're going to die. And now this is a boss battle. But it's worthless. He just runs back and forth, dropping these explosives. You just gotta keep using as much food as you need to, and just keep blasting them in the face with missiles. I mean, it's not even any strategy involved with it. It's not very fun, and it's just like really poorly designed. But after you kill him, you get the powered armor, which is one of the items that really doesn't make too much sense, but whatever. You get powered armor, which we're going to be using in order to have even more boosted up strength. You know, if Snake didn't look like he was already steroided up enough, we put on the power suit, and now we have even more strength to deal with. So yeah, but we're off the train now, and I'm going to re-equip my handgun. I don't really need to deal with the missiles. I'm going to use some food, and go ahead and equip the power armor. I'm going to head to the left here. I'm going to have to push this rock, which I can now push this rock with the power armor equipped, and I'm going to have to drop an explosive right in the middle of this wall area here. Wait for it to explode, and now I can actually go through. But every time you pretty much use an explosive, the enemy is immediately notified. They could hear the explosion. At least they're smart enough to, when they hear an explosive, know that something's up, so they go on alert. So I quickly just save that guy real quick, and somehow, as soon as I crossed the line into that next area, boom, there was immediately some guy there who, I guess, somehow was able to push that rock. I don't know how in the hell he was able to get up there, but hey, you know, just random spawning enemies that really didn't exist until you crossed over into that other room. Just the greatness that is NES programming is so awesome. And now that I work my way over here, wait for the explosive, and now I'm just going to keep going, even though I'm getting shot the crap out of. Head up here, and go inside this room real quick, using card number 2. Even though I've picked up card number 3 and 4, I'm still using cards 1 and 2 a lot. It's just annoyance having to keep switching back to cards number 1 and 2, even though I've gotten different cards since. Re-equip the powered armor in order to push Giant Rock, and enter this room, which I now have to go back off the powered armor, back to my key card to enter this room, and I get to pick up the shotgun. So now I have that great weapon, which really overall isn't that great of a weapon. I still think the best gun that uses just regular ammunition is the handgun in the game. just because it's single shot that can hit the enemy directly on target and be done with it. Now here's a very annoying part of the game. You have to walk between these platforms between two different screens that splash between them, and then of course if you accidentally step off into just the darkness around you, the black abyss, you are instantly dead, and you will have to use the continue point. So it's just a complete another pain in the butt. I guess kind of cool in a way, that more platforming elements to this game, but just really an unnecessary thing. And since the glitching with the bulkiness of Snake is already pretty bad, that just adds to it. Some of those times you'll accidentally, one foot will barely go off into that area and you'll end up dying. You'll question why you just died. Take out a whole bunch of enemies that saw me because I had to blow stuff up, and they really weren't too happy. Punch that guy in the face. Wait for this guy, I don't want to get shot, and I don't feel like alerting the enemies again. So I'll just kill him with the gun from a distance. Equip card number 4, enter. And now we get to go into another underground area, because now I'm just going to kill that guy real quick, hoping he was going to drop something, but unfortunately he doesn't. Kill that guy, even though somehow I thought he would have seen me, somehow he didn't. And I'm going to go ahead and re-equip my plastic explosives, switch back to them real quick. And go ahead and use them on the giant pile here. And hey, look, there opens up an area, and look, more side-scrolling fun. Oh yes, fun for everyone. So this area introduces one of the worst parts of the side-scrolling areas. See those little vents things on the top there? There's little domes. When the enemy is alerted, they start dropping random bombs down those chutes, and they just keep falling out. And so if you're underneath of them, you're just going to keep getting pegged by random explosives that are just going to keep exploding everywhere, as well as all the other enemies that are shooting at you randomly. I also love when the enemies are alerted in this game, they can't duck and shoot you. It doesn't make any sense. They can only shoot diagonally when I'm standing like on a whole different platform down from them, as you can see those guys are doing. But if I'm on the same eye level with them and I duck down and start crawling, they won't shoot at me. They'll just run into me and they'll hit me, they'll step on my face and they'll do damage just the same. But for whatever reason, they just keep shooting straight. They don't shoot their diagonal shot unless I'm on a different whole platform, which is just kind of odd, I guess. I guess, at least in my opinion, it's kind of odd. At least I just consider it. Check another one up for bad programming. As you can see, now that the enemy is alerted and ticked off, I have to deal with those explosives dropping out of the random vents from the ceiling and take out more guys that, when they jump, they shot a diagonal shot, as I'm going to have to use a ration here, and I accidentally dropped an explosive. I didn't want to drop the explosive, but that's just due to the fact of me trying to use the gun and duck, or the knife and duck. I end up dropping explosives because of just the bad control that I can't just select the explosive, drop it wherever I want to, and then switch back to the gun or whatever. But at least that mess is taken care of, and we're done that little area for now. Another side-scrolling area complete, but don't worry, we got plenty more to come in the later parts of the game. Now that we're outside of this area, I'm going to have to re-equip the powered armor in order to push another giant rock out of the path, and work my way up and to the left. But now that we've taken care of that whole train issue, we're pretty much now just going to work our way into finally being able to infiltrate the final buildings, which is where Metal Gear 2 is actually being held. So that's, in case you were wondering, that's pretty much where our goal is right this second. But of course it's going to be a while and a lot of crap that I have to get through in order to finally get to that point. Right now I'm just going to build up my ammunition back up to its max that I can get during a 3-star rating, which I can get 150 handgun bullets. And now I'm going to work my way over, and now I'm going to actually have a large series of random paths that's going to lead me now to another one of those rooms with those moving conveyor belt, small little crate platforms that I had a little bit ago. But I'm going to stop by and pick up some, basically some landmines that I'm going to have to use in just a little while, which there's actually several different types of things that look like landmines in the game, or similar landmines, but there's only one official landmine, and I need it in order to break through. There's claymore mines and landmines, as well as the plastic explosives, and they all work differently, and you need all 3 of them for different things. Equip card number 3 quickly before they all kill me. And like I said before, we had another one of these random conveyor belt crate moving rooms that if you fall off, you die instantly. And this, of course, is what I was talking about. which, after doing it a few times, I pretty much learned just to wait for a little bit before dropping down. But as soon as this one goes back over, we're going to immediately press down to get over, and then we can go down to that last one and wait for it to come over and go into this door. So that's the quick way to get through that little room right there without having to actually die, as everyone tries to shoot me still, even though they're on other sides of the walls, so I really don't even know how they're seeing me, but they spawned and they want me dead. And now we have another fun side-scrolling adventure. But this one I'm going to try not to get seen, as I got seen through the last one, so I'm going to try my best not to really get seen, because I don't feel like all these bombs just dropping on my head and taking me out. So I'm going to head over, and go back up and jump over this random explosive, and continuing on my way. Basically the exact same crap we've been seeing in these little underground side-scrolling areas. Explosives, random cameras that see me, and soldiers that are completely oblivious to my every movement unless I'm in direct eye contact with them, as well as they cannot shoot. They cannot shoot down, they cannot duck, they can't do anything, but yeah, stand there and do nothing pretty much. So yeah, jump up here and wait for this guy to turn around again, and he'll turn back around, and then I'll be able to make my move to jump up and stab him right in the back of the neck to take him out. And now continue crawling, make sure no one can see me. Somehow that guy can't see me even though he's right there. I'm going to drop down quickly as much as I can, as fast as I can. Take him out, and now we actually are in a whole new area. Thankfully another side-scrolling area is completed. And we are almost done this whole desert compound style area. We only have a little tiny bit more to go, which is going to end with our final boss of this area, the third boss of the game, which just like the first Metal Gear game, this one also has a giant tank to deal with. And just like the first one as well, we're going to take it out with mines. So I'm going to plant mines, and basically it becomes a waiting game for the most part, unlike the other battle in the first Metal Gear game, because there's actually 3 screens in which he actually will drive through. And if I go after hunting him and try to go up to the other screens, there's a good chance he could be right there as soon as I enter that next screen, and he'll run me over in instant death. So basically, I just wait for him. Why waste my time going after him if I can just stand here, wait for him, and then goodbye. See you, giant tank. He decided to come after me finally, and it's his downfall. And now walk across this giant bridge and enter this building, which officially completes that whole outside desert compound area, and leads us into the third area, or fourth area, or whatever area we are now in the game, which is basically a whole series of buildings that we're going to have to travel by trolley to get between them. So that's this whole new area, which are basically another third or so of the way down the game. We actually only have like the final area pretty much to go through the game, which this area and that whole final building is like the most big chunk of the game, which of course not only contains the final boss in the Metal Gear unit that we actually will have to face, but also includes the other final bosses as well, the whole kind of twist ending to the game, which will be exposed when we actually get to the end of the game. As I run, of course, past cameras, because I don't really give a crap if the cameras see me, because the enemies are stupid enough that they're really not even going to come after me. As I just got infrared goggles, which are going to be used to see the random laser grid they have set up that will run through the laser grids on the rooftop areas of these buildings. They will be able, of course, sound an alarm, and of course all the enemies will then come running for me. And I'll probably work my way through a couple of them, but it's pretty much what's laziness on the fact of the programmers, you know, that you're going to see this grid area, which I'm about to show you when after I get out here. Here's that whole grid area. I'm going to equip the night sight goggles here, and now you can see the whole grid. This is the exact pretty much same design throughout all the grids on all the buildings. So you see this one time, you'll pretty much know it. And you can actually just kind of, if you memorize it, work your way through it without even needing the infrared goggles, which I will attempt, but I will most likely fail. So that's just a forewarning, because I just really don't feel like re-equipping the infrared goggles each time just to see that grid, where in the end, even if the enemy does see me, they're really not going to be able to do too much against me. It's not like by seeing me that somehow some super giant, you know, boss comes out of nowhere and instantly kills me or anything like that. Now I'm on the trolleys, and this starts another little interesting area of gameplay, as you're on top of the trolley, and a random soldier will peek his head out and try to see you, which I don't know how he didn't see me jump onto the trolley in the first place. But if you're standing over his window when he looks up at you, he sees you, he sounds the alarm, and then all of a sudden, like, out of nowhere, troops just start falling into the trolley, coming after you, and it's just a giant mess. So it's best not to be seen while on that whole trolley, and if you do it once or twice, by that final trolley, even on your first playthrough of the game, you should be able to figure out how to avoid those guys pretty easily. As you can see, pretty much the exact same laser grid for the most part as we saw before. Looks like almost the exact same layout of the rooftop area on a second building, and trust me, we are actually on the second building. But this whole series of buildings, almost all of them look the same, except for some of them have different interiors, which I just got another ration there from a random enemy being punched in the face, which is always a plus. It's always a good thing. I'm not going to complain about getting extra health item boosts, but I'm going to try to make it as much as I can without having to re-heal, because like I said before, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I always seem to only play better or do better when I have low health. But anyway, I'm going to enter this room, and hey look, M. Bison's here. Let's say hello to M. Bison by putting truth gas in the room, and he will give us a nice little hint. It's 7 times more powerful than Metal Gear 1. Really? That just kind of seems far-fetched and unnecessary if you ask me, considering as far as I knew, Metal Gear was like a super giant humongous weapon that could destroy everything in its path, and anything and everyone it wants to, so to be 7 times more powerful just seems kind of unnecessary in the end, but hey, who am I to say against people that want to take over the world using giant mech robots? But in this room, we get the keycard number 6. Now you're going to question, we get keycard number 6 before keycard number 5? Yes, for whatever reason, we end up getting keycard 6 before we end up getting keycard number 5. I'm picking up some random antidotes because I can get poisoned, but I don't think I will, but I will make sure that I do have antidotes in case I do, and I'm going to use some food here because these enemies are about to hit me no matter what I do, no matter how good I am. At least I only got hit once there, but that would have been death if I didn't have some rations to use. Quickly duck down into this area, and go ahead with card number 3, open the room, and hey, save another hostage, which, hey look, increases my rank, and gets my full health back. So I probably should have stopped down there, grabbed him real quick before going up and grabbing the keycard. That probably would have been the best option, but oh well, I used a ration instead and still was able to make it through. I just lost 1 ration, which hopefully I'll be able to gain back by maybe punching some guys later or just grabbing some from a random ration room, which I know there will be at least 1 more before the end of the game. But the whole point of coming into this building was to grab that key card, and once we have it now, we're going to head back up to the rooftop area, so if you missed that laser grid, say hello to it once again, but this time I'm just going to say screw it, and try to maneuver my way around it without getting caught. But that doesn't always work, and enemies see me and whatever, and they sound the alarm, and they will stupidly run at me, very poor AI, except the bullets do a ton of damage, which is an absolute annoyance, but anyway, I got past them, and now I'm just going to stand here and wait. As you can see, the other trolley reappear, but that trolley will get me back down to building 1, which of course is not where I want to head. So I'll stand here, wait for this trolley, get on it. Somehow, once again, there's a soldier inside who's going to start looking up at me as I get going, but for some reason he couldn't see me jump onto the actual trolley. Don't really know why he can't see me. I don't know how he didn't notice, the sounds of footsteps on top of a trolley, but oh well, he's retarded, and I'm going to use that to my benefit. So now that we're off this trolley, as soon as it wants to get off this trolley and land, go through random more screens, and hey look, we've arrived at the next building, our next location. And once again, same basic freaking laser grid that we've already dealt with before, which I'm just going to try to bypass, but oh well. Slightly different design of a laser grid, but it's basically the same exact gameplay that we've already dealt with before. And now head to the first floor of this building, just like we did in the previous one. And now we have a slightly different building that we have to work our way around for only really one purpose, and that's to pick up another item, just like we did in the previous building. Saving some guy who actually dropped any rations for me, but of course I'm not that lucky, I guess. At least not right now. I'm not that lucky. Save another random hostage who is like, oh my god, what is Metal Gear? He doesn't even know what Metal Gear is. You're so useful of a hostage, I should have just left you tied up. I don't know how you're, once again, just like all the other hostages, how in the hell are they escaping without my help? I free them, and then they're somehow going to get past all these enemies? I mean, I guess they could, if they just have any sense of knowledge at all, they could, get through these enemies, but just keep punching them in the face until they drop ammunition and stuff, because they really aren't that smart of enemies, but still, even with that. Ooh, high sensitivity antenna. Woo, lots of fun there. Basically, I could use that in order to signal some different people on my radio that I really am not even going to worry about. Because the transmissions overall aren't even that useful for me to use. So I'll just, skip that whole ordeal and just try to skip most of these codec things. Wait for random enemies that saw me because I accidentally just ran through the laser grid because I really just didn't care about that laser grid all too much. And then I'm just gonna stand here and wait, and wait, and wait some more until eventually the trolley will show up, and there it is. I can get on top of it, and yeah, same exact thing that happened before. I'm on the trolley, and I just gotta get by it without these idiots seeing me, so they don't start some gunfight on top of a moving trolley. But they're gonna try to see me. They're gonna look. If you think at this point they would have just crawled on top of the trolley and say, "Hey, look, there actually is someone up here. I knew there was. I can hear the footsteps, but I'm too stupid to just get on top of the trolley and look." I'm just gonna kind of blankly look out the window and somehow be able to see everything. I really don't know. But next building here, so now we actually will go inside this building, and I need keycard number 6, which is why we had to pick that one up. And now you can see random blue enemies. Oh god, it's same basic enemies, same AI, same intelligence level, but they are blue colored. Give it up for that. Keycard number 3, use that, open up the room, and hey look, M. Bison's back. And let's see what useful tidbit of information M. Bison's gonna give us today. The commander holds the key to this secret weapon. Okay, awesome, thank you. That really wasn't that useful. But get back to my keycard and now head out. Okay, another blue shirted guy. I'm gonna run past him. Go across the opposite side of the crates that we first went past. And hey, now we're on the other side of the room and we're gonna enter in here. Once in here, we're gonna head down to the next floor area below us. Get off at the next floor and head off. And what a shock, more blue shirted enemies to deal with. And somehow that guy didn't see me as I just literally was on, peripheral vision of him, but he didn't see me, so I guess that's good enough. Head off, equip back to keycard number 4 this time, and head inside this room, and save another hostage. Hey guy, how's it going? Well, this time I really don't give a crap what you're gonna say, because you're probably just gonna say, what? Metal Gear? What's that? And, yeah, so you're not really useful. Escape on your own, be my guest. Somehow escape without me being able to actually help you. Still don't know how you're doing that. Enter this room real quick. And just keep doing this real quick to replenish my supply of plastic explosives. Just to make sure that I am full again. At least they're right at the beginning of the room, so it really didn't take any extra effort to refill my supply real fast. Head up, and this room is probably one of the most important rooms that we're going to have to deal with, because inside this room right here is more oxygen tanks. Oh yes. And we're going to need them because the most annoying side-scrolling area is coming up in just a little bit. And when I say the most annoying, I really do mean it's the absolutely positively most annoying, because if you do not have even with full supply of oxygen tanks, I still usually run out of them, and I still usually always take at least some damage from not being able to breathe because I ran out of all the oxygen tanks which I had built up my supply of. So yeah. Lots of fun coming up from that. We're going to start off in this room. You can see there's actually 4 doors in this room, the one we came in plus 3 others. And we're going to head into this upper path first. We really don't need to deal with the left path, it's just this path and the one to the right. And we need to come here first in order to grab an important item, so we have to deal with this area. And unfortunately, not only do we have to go through this area forward, we actually will have to backtrack and go all the way through this area again. So you're seeing it now going front ways, you're going to have to see it going back ways as well. Lots of fun. Deal with random cameras. I'm going to duck under this other one so it doesn't see me. For some reason, even though it has a full amount of area to scroll down, it can't go all the way down to the ground. Heck, this one that doesn't even have that long of a place to go somehow can go farther down than the previous room's camera. But whatever about that. I'm going to try to avoid these bombs without taking any damage, but that's going to be easier said than done. Duck underneath, back up, and jump again. See how far I can go once again without having to absolutely fill up my health will be most beneficial, obviously. Alright, continuing on. Wait for this stupid bomb. Come over, come on. Oh, come on. The path it takes sometimes makes no sense, as I just barely cleared that one. That was almost death right there. I probably should have used health, but oh well, I'm still good. Hey, look, random soldier guys! I'll stab them. I didn't want to go off screen, but oh well. I'll stab them in the crotch with my knife. Somehow they don't see me, even though I'm just crawling on the floor. I mean, seriously, if you looked over and you saw something, you would see something crawling on the floor in front of you. I don't know how that guy didn't see me come into the room. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't know how they ever can see me then, but at least that whole side-scrolling area wasn't extremely long as compared to some of them. But it's still an annoyance, because like I said, we're going to have to go right back through it. So that's probably why the programmers of the game didn't make it so awful. But inside of here, not only is there ammunition, there's also the important keycard number 5, which we get now. Like I said before, I don't know why we got 6 before it. And a pair of random boots. So, hey, I'm going to, might as well, since it's, pretty late in the game at this point, I'm going to refill up most of my handgun ammo. It's probably the last time I have to fill up my handgun ammo throughout the game, because surprisingly enough, we actually are coming up to the starting to get to the relative end of the game, thankfully. The final last couple buildings. This is a very long trek until you finally get to do battle with the final bosses, the final 2 bosses of the game. Or should I say, actually, final 3 bosses of the game. The whole final area is actually 3 bosses contained in a short amount of time, even though one really isn't a boss fight, just like the first Metal Gear game. But I digress. Now we're going to basically have to, of course, go right back to where we came from, after I've now restocked fully on my ammo, and now we're going to head back into this whole side-scrolling area again, so if you enjoyed it the first time, you're going to enjoy it the second time, and if you didn't enjoy it the first time, sorry, you're not going to enjoy it this time either, as I just got Saul. As you can now see, all hell breaks loose, as now we only have bombs falling from the ceiling, random gun guys, and now we have also guys who shoot missiles. But just like the gun guy, their main problem is they can't shoot down, they cannot duck, they are absolutely positively worthless and horribly designed. I just do not understand how you can mess really that up, but I mean, I know Ultra had problems when doing certain games, I understand they had issues with certain games, but I mean, come on. You couldn't program your enemy to duck? I mean, then if you can't do that, why even make these side-scrolling areas to begin with? It just makes them a piece of cake, especially for dodging most enemies. As now I'm going to try to get past this whole area without using a health item, which, come on, you know what? Come on, there we go. Got it. Just had to wait a second, and out. Phew, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be. And work on the way underneath that camera, and continuing on to more cameras, and we're almost back to the back to that big room with the 4 doors. Almost there. Kill this random soldier. Shot him right in the butt. Move on, shoot this soldier in the leg, and now I'm just gonna wait for this other guy to come back. See, I could see him not being able to see me fully. I can understand him, but most of the time I don't understand the other enemies not being able to see me at the time. Not a random last camera to really deal with. Stand up quickly and run to the end, and hey, look, we're back in the room with the 4 doors. So this time we're going to go over and head through the right door. And, yeah, this is the area I mentioned earlier, which is why we needed all those oxygen tanks we could possibly get. Because this is the area which is going to slaughter me. It's going to waste all of my oxygen tanks in order to get past it. Plus, you need the plastic explosives to get through the vents, like we did previously in an earlier side-scrolling room. We of course need those things again. So I'm just gonna try to jump over these bombs here. There we go. Try not to get seen here by random stupid floating sensor. Come on. Oh. Okay, I'll wait. You coming? Nope. Okay, or not. Come on. Underneath. Up. Over, and now run to the end. Sure, once again able to bypass that whole area. Okay, and here we go. Here's the whole area where we really need to, we're going to waste all our oxygen tanks. Just watch it deplete as I slowly work my way over and have to destroy these gates. Because underneath the water, crawling is like the slowest thing ever. They could have at least used the same gameplay mechanics
that they used for the dam level in the TMNT game. You know, at least I could have been able to swim better. I mean, I could have even dealt with the electrical tentacles hanging off the walls of the you know, the rocks and stuff underneath that dam area in TMNT, but at least I would have been able to swim normally instead of being just ducking and crawling through on the ground of the water. I mean, it just really doesn't make too much sense to me. And waiting for these bombs to explode, I mean, come on. As you can see, I'm already almost down to... I'm about to start taking damage now after I've destroyed all these things, as I'm going to have to now pause it real quick, go over to my rations and use that, then switch back to my gun. As you can see, I'm going to start taking damage. Lots of fun. And now we have bombs on the ceilings, on the surface of the water, so I can't even stand up here. Okay, now I can finally stand up, at least for a second. So I'm going to try to get past these guys without taking any damage. Jump up, over, jump back into the water here, and continue over. And hey, look, another camera, another buoy floating in the water, and more stupid landmines just kind of floating. Come on! And I screwed that one up. You know what? Just screw it. Let's go. I don't even really care about it anymore. Wait for this guy, shoot him in the leg. Thankfully, though, we were able to get past that area without taking a whole lot of damage. I only had to use one ration in the end. But now we've basically entered the whole, like, final area of the game. The whole final, like, building, final compound style area of the game. And now we just have to slowly work our way over to the final boss rooms. So we just have a little bit left of item finding, item pickups throughout the rest of this little area here. Switch back to card number 5. Walk in here. Hey, look, there's another M. Bison guy. Go back to my truth gas. Walk up to him, and he's, yeah, I don't even care anymore. I don't think any of you really care anymore either. So we're gonna go back through and head down. Work our way over. This guy somehow saw me, even though I hadn't even fully come around the corner yet. But I guess somehow, like, you know, common sense, he actually was finally able to see out his peripheral vision. Hey, look, there's the grenade-throwing guys. They couldn't just be, like, random soldiers that throw grenades. No, they had to be a completely different color scheme. They had to be shirtless, showing off their muscles, and then they had to throw grenades over walls. Because only a giant muscle man could be able to throw a grenade over a wall. As I now just save another hostage, which levels me up to rank number 5, as well as it refills my health up to full, thankfully. As you see, more shirtless grenade guys throwing grenades off over the walls. Go ahead and enter this room and grab keycard number 7. Oh yay, lots of fun here. Now head out and continue around our path. And that was really, I didn't even mean to pull that up. That was just force of habit from the first game. Walk across the bottom there, and now head over to the left. I didn't really mean to pull out the transceiver, it just kind of happened. But I finally killed that shirtless grenade throwing dude. Go down to card number 7. Now that I have that, I can enter over into this room. And I'm going to have to pick up some landmines, and you need these landmines because it's the only thing that's going to hurt the second to last boss. So you do need to pick up the landmines. I suggest just might as well fill up all your landmines back up to full, since we actually do have 2 bosses in this game, not just one that is taken out by landmines. Slowly replenishing my supply of them. Like I said, this is the most boring part of the game, but it's an essential part of the game as well. Now head up. Random blue-shirted guy that's going to try to block my path, and now I'm going to head into this room up here. And this leads us to another elevator, and we're going to head up in here and take us up to the next floor. We're slowly making our way to the rooftop, or the final floor area of the game. Only a little bit more left to go. Head off to the right here. Random soldier guys. I'm going to head down, and now I'm going to go ahead and enter this room over to the left here. But I have to equip card number 4, switch back to card number 4. Grab key card number 8, as well as we have a storyline cutscene here, pretty much, as we have now finally discovered Nick, who we've been looking for all along, and it informs us that Jennifer is actually a spy. You remember Jennifer helped us with items and the weapons in the first game, and helped us throughout this one as well. And he also informs us that Big Boss is still alive, and he has a life support system in his room, and the only way we're going to be able to take him out is we're going to have to wait for him to, we have to lure him out of his room in order to take him out. So thank you, Nick, for informing us of that before croaking and turning gray. Because, yeah, that's instantly what happens. Heading south now here, and we have another... Kill this guy real quick. And we have another essential room here. We have to enter this room as well. Because you need... Right there, you need it. You positively, absolutely need the smoke bomb. You're like, why would you need a smoke bomb? Because when you think of smoke bomb, you just think of something as a diversion. You throw it, smoke comes out of it, the enemies can't see you, you can escape. But we need that in order to enter the final building, the factory of where Metal Gear 2 is actually being held. And without it, you cannot go through the door. Even with missiles, mines, you know, anything you have, you cannot break this stupid door down without having a freaking smoke bomb, which I think makes absolutely no sense. But it's essential in order to continue, so you know what? Screw it. It's not even worth really thinking about. Picked it up. We got it. And now I'm going to resupply all my missile ammo and make sure that that's also at max, because I'm going to be needing these for the final boss when I actually have to fight Metal Gear. You need the missiles in order to damage it. So I'll run back and forth in this room a couple of times just to make sure that I have full ammo before I continue on my way. And continuing and moving back. And now it's time to continue. Kill this guy, shoot that guy. Okay, now that we basically have everything we need, we have all the key cards, we have all our ammo, we have the smoke bomb, more importantly, and we've seen Nick die, we can finally head off to the final floor of the game. We can go to the top floor of this building, where we can actually finally start to set in motion the ending of Snake's Revenge. And, yeah, complete this game. Okay, here is the final floor of the game, which kind of looks exactly like the first room of the previous floor, but whatever. Heading off to the right, we have robots, walking giant stupid robots. And I say screw them, and as long as you have a couple rations, just run past them. Equip card number 8 because you need it in order to enter this room, which is why you need it to go in that room and go get key card number 8. It's really one of the few times you'll even need that card, since you get it so late in the game. Go ahead and equip card number 3 and enter this room and head up. And now we're going to have to equip card number 4. They pretty much just make use of most of the key cards during this last little part here. Go ahead and equip card number 5 and enter here. And hey look, here we go. It's time for our final showdown, or at least showdown for this game, with Big Boss, who informs us that we've destroyed Metal Gear 1, and he is a cyborg, and now he wants revenge. I thought this was about Snake's revenge, not Big Boss's revenge, but whatever. I suggest using the Claymore mines that we picked up earlier in the game, and just start using a lot of them. Heal when you need to, but, you know, keep using them because it's that spread shot of bullets, which works very well. After I use most of them up, he gets taken care of. He somehow explodes into pretty much a giant Terminator robot. So now we have to basically fight a Terminator robot, and he's like, oh god, I have no weak point. You can penetrate. Was it really neat to have another text box for that? But anyway, we head out, and now he's going to come out of that left side door here. Equip the mines. You have to hit him in the foot in order to damage him with the mines. So as you can see, I'm just going to stand next to him and use as many mines as I can, as quickly as I possibly, you know, can dish him out. And he's taken care of. Okay, he explodes, he's done, and as soon as that happens, hey look, somehow exactly at that right moment after he blows up, Metal Gear 2 is now operational, and now they are getting ready to attack their destinations that they have chosen to destroy. Equip card number 5 right back, and head over into this room over here. And hey, look, there's Jennifer. And when we talk to Jennifer, she of course is going to thank us and tell us basically what we're going to have to do in order to destroy Metal Gear and stop it from destroying everything. So now we're going to head up, and we're going to have to stand here and wait as our time's slowly ticking away, and we're going to have to wait for another trolley to appear. And this trolley will take us to that secret base where Metal Gear 2 is located. But at least this time around, we don't have to deal with any of the guys trying to find us on top of the trolley. At least they did that for us. And you see this door? This is the indestructible door that is only destroyable if you have a smoke bomb. For whatever reason, use a smoke bomb on it, it explodes, and we can go in. Once we've entered, it now warns us again. That's going to tell us where exactly Metal Gear 2 is getting ready to attack, which is going to be New York, Tokyo, and Moscow. Oh yes. So now we must work our way through this factory. It's actually a pretty confusing pathway, but with the right knowledge ahead of time, we can maneuver our way through it using card number 7 to enter this door. Head off. Go ahead and equip card number 8 because we're going to need it in order to enter the next rooms. Head up through this middle path and work our way around. And continuing on, and go all the way to the far left and go up. And to the right, all the way along this giant long path as our time is very slowly ticking away. And we come to this door up here, and we're going to enter this door using card number 8. And inside, there it is, there's Metal Gear 2, and we need to immediately equip our missiles. And now we have to use guided missiles and guide them through this ventilation system, this vent system here. As you can see, I just messed that one up because you can see the walls do keep closing, so it is a little bit difficult, but it comes down to timing. It may take a little bit to get rhythm going. You need like about, I think it's 13 or 14, maybe 15 missiles or so. It takes a lot of missiles, but that's why we fully stocked up on them. So I would have made sure that I had just about full missiles. So as long as you have at least like 30 missiles, you should be able to at least get half of them through in order to damage Metal Gear. And you can tell every time I hit it, you can hear a little noise that signifies that I actually did damage to it. Not really much of a final battle, I know, but at least, hey, at least it is Metal Gear this time, and not just some giant, stupid supercomputer that we have to deal with. But, hey, after only a few of them, well, actually more like over 10 of them, it explodes, and that's it. Yeah, nothing else happens. It just now will go to the ending of the game. At least there is an ending, but we don't get to see anything else. Operation 747. The UN has now declared World Peace Day after somehow Snake destroyed Metal Gear. And now we get to see John Turner is MIA and removed from Navy Records, and Nick Meyer gets promoted 3 ranks after he's been killed. Fun! And now we get to see a great profile picture of Snake from this game. And now the staff credits will begin to roll, as we have another great song playing actually during the ending. And we get to see all the people that worked on this game. And yeah, it was interesting to me that it was Hideo Kojima. Actually, I don't know which person that worked on the game, but he was talking to a member that was working on this game. And when they were talking, he told them that they were working on Metal Gear 2: Snake's Revenge. And it was because of that conversation that Hideo Kojima decided, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll make Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake for the MSX computer systems. And he hasn't stopped making Metal Gear games yet. So, like I said before, this game isn't canon, but I pretty much say that without it, we may not have gotten another Metal Gear game, because Kojima really had no plans on making a sequel to the original Metal Gear game. So, hey, at least, if nothing else, this game's at least good for that. And now we get to see the little copyright symbol for Konami. Presented by Konami, and Snake smiles after seeing Konami list it. Gives that nice little smirk, and yep, that's going to wrap up Snake's Revenge, the unofficial sequel to Metal Gear 1 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.